Hollywood sells fantasies, but behind every red carpet smile is a cost no one advertises: power, control, silence. For generations, actors were handed a cruel bargain: erase parts of yourself or watch everything you've built disappear. Some chose silence and slowly disappeared inside it. Others spoke up and were punished for it. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the casting couch economy. Not just the physical abuse, but the emotional leverage, the identity control, the careers quietly destroyed for loving the wrong person. 15 actors, 15 moments when Hollywood's polished illusion cracked. This isn't gossip. It's a system designed to reward fear and punish honesty. And if you've ever felt pressured to trade your dignity for a dream, this story is for you. Before we begin, subscribe and turn on notifications. These stories only matter if they're heard. The accusation that fractured Hollywood. You're 14 years old. You're alone with someone powerful, someone whose name can unlock doors you've only imagined. At first, it feels like opportunity. Then something shifts, and years later, you still don't have words for what happened, only the weight of it. That was the reality Anthony Rapp carried until 2017, when he publicly accused Kevin Spacey of inappropriate behavior when Rapp was a teenager. The industry exploded. Spacey's career collapsed. More voices emerged, but the headlines missed something. Rapp became the one on trial in public opinion. His timing questioned, his memory dissected, his motives doubted. Why now? Where's the proof? The familiar ritual. Survivors must audition for belief, while the accused receive the benefit of doubt and elite legal teams. In 2022, a civil jury ruled in Spacey's favor. For some, that verdict meant closure. For others, it confirmed a painful truth survivors already know. Courtrooms don't measure trauma. Winning legally isn't the same as being believed. But the verdict couldn't undo what Rapp started. His courage cracked the silence. It gave others permission to speak. He forced Hollywood to confront truths it had buried for decades, even as he absorbed the cost of being first. The offers that aren't really offers. No one tells you about the second audition, the one after you've impressed them, after they see potential. That's when the conversation shifts, quietly, subtly, from professional to predatory, in hallways, at parties, behind closed doors. Wilson Cruz has spoken openly about navigating that world as a young queer actor. Powerful men making promises that came with invisible strings, opportunities framed as generosity, but enforced through fear. The most dangerous version of the casting couch isn't always physical. Sometimes it's an unspoken bargain. Comply and you work. Refuse and you vanish. For queer actors, the cruelty cuts deeper. These men don't just dangle roles. They dangle safety, belonging, validation in an industry that already questions your right to exist. Cruz built a groundbreaking career, from My So-Called Life to Star Trek Discovery, but he never forgot the cost, the constant pressure to be agreeable, to never disrupt powerful people, because difficult is how they erase you without explanation. His honesty reveals Hollywood's quiet truth. Exploitation doesn't always look like scandal. Sometimes it looks like a door that never opens again. Manufactured until he broke. Colton Haynes wasn't just cast, he was engineered. Hollywood didn't want him talented and gay. They wanted him safe, straight-coated, digestible. He's described the instructions clearly. Change how you move, how you talk, how you exist. Too soft, too expressive, tone it down. All meaning the same thing: hide. This is the modern casting couch. Not hands on your body, but hands shaping your identity until you no longer recognize yourself. Your dating life becomes a business decision. Your friendships become risks. Your truth becomes a liability. Haynes has spoken about the toll, addiction, mental health spirals, the exhaustion of living inside a role that never ends. When he finally came out, it wasn't celebrated, it was survival. The response was swift. You're no longer marketable. As if his image had ever belonged to him, as if being desired by strangers was worth losing himself. The slur that turned a set into a battlefield. Hollywood loves to say it's a family, but on some sets, family just means hierarchy, and hierarchy thrives on humiliation. In 2006, Grey's Anatomy was unstoppable. T.R. Knight was a fan favorite. Then a backstage argument erupted, and co-star Isaiah Washington allegedly used a homophobic slur, forcing Knight's private life into public spectacle. This was the casting couch without a couch. Power deciding when you're allowed privacy, when your identity becomes collateral damage. Knight didn't come out because he felt ready. He came out because secrecy was taken from him. Reports later revealed even his own family hadn't known. Imagine that violation. Your truth turned into entertainment. Washington apologized. Headlines moved on. But Knight was left carrying the scar. Proof that one word can turn your career into a war zone and your life into a storyline everyone feels entitled to dissect. The Superman Hollywood wouldn't allow. Matt Bomer had everything Hollywood claims to want: talent, charisma, leading man appeal. In the early 2000s, he was reportedly close to starring in Superman Flyby. Then the project vanished. So did his name. Author Jackie Collins later claimed the reason was simple. Producers discovered he was gay. Others denied it. And that uncertainty is the point. Truth dissolves. Accountability disappears. This is the casting couch in a tailored suit. No one touches you. They just decide which fantasies you're allowed to represent. Superman isn't just a role, it's a billion-dollar symbol. If your real life disrupts the illusion, you're erased without fingerprints. Bomer went on to thrive. White collar, the normal heart, Magic Mike. But the loss still lingers, exposing a rule Hollywood pretends never existed. Be desirable, but only in ways we approve. The man who said the quiet part out loud. Rupert Everett broke the unspoken rule. He lived openly, and Hollywood responded the way it always does, silently. No blacklist, no announcement. The phone just stops ringing. Everett has long argued that big-budget Hollywood punishes openness, especially when conservative money outweighs progressive branding. His clearest example, James Bond. Bond isn't just a character, it's a fantasy designed for projection. Everett believes the franchise would never allow an openly gay actor in the role, not because of talent, but because truth threatens the illusion. This is sexuality-based gatekeeping at its most refined. They don't demand your body, they demand your invisibility. And if you refuse, you're quietly redirected into supporting roles, never erased, just contained. Everett named the system, and naming it is dangerous because it forces Hollywood to answer the question it avoids most. Who are these rules really protecting? The romantic idol who lived like a fugitive. Richard Chamberlain wasn't just a star, he was the star, America's ideal leading man, and that fantasy became his prison. The contract was clear: remain desirable, remain ambiguous, remain straight enough to sell the dream. So Chamberlain lived cautiously, interviews rehearsed, relationships hidden. The higher he climbed, the less room he had to breathe. When he finally came out, decades later, it didn't feel triumphant. It felt like release. And then he said the sentence that still echoes. Coming out can still end your career if you're sold as a romantic hero. That's the casting couch in formal wear. Not assault, but captivity built from fear and expectation. The heartthrob built on lies. Tab Hunter was 1950s perfection, manufactured, controlled, and protected by illusion. Studios didn't manage careers, they managed identities. When scandal threatened, the solution wasn't honesty, it was performance. Public girlfriends, staged romances, a life choreographed for consumption. Meanwhile, his real relationships survived quietly, under constant fear of erasure. Hunter later described the suffocation, being adored as a fantasy while disappearing as a person. Decades later, reclaiming his story couldn't undo the cost, a lifetime of love earned for someone he wasn't allowed to be. The pawn Hollywood sacrificed. George Nader had everything studios prized, which made him dangerous. When tabloids circled, studios didn't protect people, they protected assets. Someone had to be expendable. Nader was rumored to be one of them, a life offered up as distraction, a career traded to preserve bigger investments. That realization that your worth is measured by how easily you can be sacrificed is its own violation, not physical, but absolute. Nader left, built a life beyond Hollywood, but exile doesn't erase the truth, it just confirms it. Because the casting couch was never just a couch, it was a system. And it still the question that never really goes away. Was I never good enough? Or was I simply too dangerous to sell? The star who refused and still won. Before Hollywood standardized its leading men into interchangeable fantasies, there was William Haynes. Effortlessly charismatic, sharp-witted, magnetic in a way cameras couldn't resist. He wasn't just popular, he was powerful. At his height, he had money, influence, and box office proof that audiences adored him. Then Hollywood asked its favorite question of queer stars when the stakes rise. Give us your truth, and we'll give you your career back. The deal was blunt. End your relationship, take a wife for the cameras, smile for the fantasy. Lavender marriages weren't love stories. They were carefully managed silence with good publicity. Haynes did something almost unthinkable for the time. He said no. Not loudly, not dramatically, just honestly. I'm already married, he said. Not legally, but spiritually. That sentence detonated his Hollywood life. Contracts vanished, invitations stopped. People who once depended on his presence suddenly forgot his name. This was the casting couch in its purest form. Not seduction, but coercion. Perform straightness or stop existing. But Haynes didn't crumble. He walked away, built a life with the man he loved, reinvented himself as a wildly successful interior designer, so successful that the same elite circles that erased him later hired him to decorate their homes. Hollywood owned the screen. It didn't own him once he stopped asking permission. The closet that became a coffin. Rock Hudson was the ideal. Towering, handsome, the embodiment of mid-century masculinity. America watched him romance Doris Day while believing every frame. What they didn't know was that the man himself was living a performance more exhausting than any role he played. Hudson's sexuality was an open secret in industry circles, but carefully concealed from the public. Studios didn't just ask him to hide, they demanded total immersion. Fixers managed his dates, publicists fed gossip columns, carefully crafted stories. His real relationships existed only in shadows, always one rumor away from destruction. Living truthfully meant career death. Living the lie meant emotional suffocation. When Hudson was diagnosed with AIDS in 1984,